Dead internet theory just got real. GameRant writer likely doesn't actually exist. Now, I wrote this article today over on Smash JT because this is one of those topics that none of the actual outlets out there are going to cover and put their time into. And I saw what was happening, and I'm like, I need to screenshot all this to make sure I have evidence of it, because this is one of those situations that I could see easily getting scrubbed very quickly once it gets caught. So this quote unquote games journalist goes by the name of Maj Bin Zafar for GameRant, is apparently a games journalist that writes for them quite often. And I put the subheading here: ChatGPT estimates that 90 to 95% certainty that this GameRant article was written entirely by AI. And we're going to get into not just a specific article, but after that article, after I went through it and found that everything was basically AI in it, I started diving into this journalist and realizing that I don't think they're actually a real person. And then I looked into other articles from them, and everything that I found points to 90 to 95% chance, certainty that it's written by AI. After digging into the author behind it, it gets even creepier. The piece is credited to Majbin Zafar, which is this X account right now, which is Majbin 1711752, which sounds like a totally legitimate name. Of course. Why would anyone doubt this? Of course that's a real user. But trying to verify whether she's a real person is like chasing a ghost. I can't find anything on her. No LinkedIn, no past history of writing, nothing. Now, this is her about section. From the moment Majbin Zafar landed her first headshot in the electrifying chaos of Counter-Strike, X to doubt, her passion for the FPS genre has fueled a lifelong gaming obsession. Since early 2025, she has channeled that thrill into dynamic articles as a GameRant writer. Majbin explores a wide range of franchises and the streaming powerhouse Twitch, covering patch notes, updates, and streamer controversies. Favorite console? PlayStation 4. I don't know if I've ever heard anyone say the PlayStation 4 is their favorite console of all time, but hey, if you're a robot, I guess. Favorite game? PUBG. Favorite movies? Top Gun. Okay, sure. Now, that's not necessarily a smoking gun, but when you dive into her responses on X and comment sections on her own article, things may strike one as a tad robotic. Where this one goes, you're not going to believe. First off, her article. I smelled some serious automated writing here. And well, look for yourself. So this is the excerpt that I actually inserted into ChatGPT. This comes from the actual Gamer Rant article here, and it's titled June 25th is going to be a big day for Assassin's Creed Shadows players. And full disclosure, guys, I was planning on covering this article to point and laugh at Assassin's Creed because no one cares. No one cares. So in preparation for covering this tonight, I read through the article and I was like, hold up. We got a much bigger story here than what I thought we did. It's not just no one cares about Assassin's Creed Shadows, but it's this article strikes me as very AI written. And this part especially, the news was met with a lot of excitement from players, as many shared their happiness on social media. And I'm like, wait, what? Assassin's Creed Shadows? Huh? Who's sharing their happiness about this game right now? Many are excited to try the nightmare difficulty, while others are curious to see how Rufino's active and passive abilities will affect the game. It's worth noting that more details about Rufino were only recently shared by the Assassin's Creed Shadows developers. Originally created for a short promotion in which he wore a Portuguese style outfit, Rufino is now officially joining the game as a character players can recruit. So, what I did was I copied this and I made my way over to ChatGPT and I said, can you tell me if this sounds like it was written by AI? And what certainty do you have? And then quote, paste, quote. Let's see what it says here. That passage does sound like it was written by AI with a moderate to high certainty, around 85 to 90%, which is weird because earlier today it said 90 to 95%, but potato, potato. Repetitive phrasing. Many shared their happiness. Then many are excited. Redundancy is a common AI hallmark. Generic tone. The language is very neutral and lacks strong opinion or unique voice, typical of LLM generated filler. Over explaining. Originally created for a short promotion, now officially joining. AI often adds unnecessary context to stretch the word count. Clean grammar and structure. It flows too perfectly without natural human quirks like slang, contractions, or slight inconsistencies. TLDR, it reads like a polished AI generated article blurb, possibly for SEO or filler content, not something with a strong authorial presence. So if this is a real person and they actually did write this, they are the world's biggest robot upon robots ever. Because not just was this one of her written articles as well, but then I bring it over to another one. NBA 2K25 gets new update for June 2025. And I did the same thing. I'm not going to do it again here, but I did the same thing for this here. It said, altogether, these changes contribute to a more polished and immersive NBA 2K 2025 experience. While every patch aimed at resolving bugs is welcome improvement, fans can look forward to even greater enhancement. Like this reads like straight up AI. This is straight up AI. And it's so easy to see. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. This author made no effort to even edit it to inject any sort of intricacies for their own personal stories or life or anything. So from all that, I said, I was intrigued. First, I went to look at her main profile, GameRant, which gave her official X account, which, well, looks pretty sus if you ask me. So I did a reverse image search. No images found of this picture here. Also, no images found of this picture here. I did reverse image searches to see if it was taken from something else. So no, but also it doesn't show up on the internet as at all either. Passionate about playing and writing about video games. Currently writing for GameRant, a leading gaming news platform worldwide. Joined February 2025, following 35 people, 2 followers. If this is a real journal, they are not doing very well with social media, because if you are an actual games journalist, even if you're terrible, your social media presence would have more than 2 followers after 4 months. like yikes. Her responses on X are robotic to the point of absurdity. Repeating quotes, asking AI assistants like Grok basic questions no actual games journalist would ever post publicly. Like this one here from the TSM official account. This is one of her replies. And she only has a handful, like 10 replies on her account. This is one of them. She replied to this with queen that says queen with this, looks like an AI girl wearing clothes. Grok, who is she? Things like, where's the official Mortal Kombat 1 account? Like, seriously, ask yourself, what seasoned writer working in journalism covering AAA games asks this publicly? Grok, can you find me the official account of Mortal Kombat 1? Like, all these things is like this, the statements or the tweets seem very unorganic, very robotic, very just like a program is just like inserting these things to say. It doesn't even, no human talks like this. To add to suspicion, her account was created in 2025, February 2025, just 4 months ago. This is this writing, which is coincidentally around the same time a major wave of major game layoffs and journalism hit the gaming industry. This is me searching on Google Images, and it said no results found for that. Her posts give me the vibes of a tone of someone trying to cosplay as a journalist rather than actually being one, raising legitimate concerns that we're looking at yet another AI sock puppet in the ever-growing graveyard of dead internet theory. And for those of you who aren't familiar with dead internet theory, it's a quick excerpt from Wikipedia. Dead internet theory is a conspiracy theory that asserts due to a coordinated and intentional effort, the internet now consists mainly of bot activity and automatically generated content manipulated by algorithmic curation to control the population and minimize organic human activity. Proponents of the theory believe these social bots were created intentionally to help manipulate algorithms and boost search results in order to manipulate consumers. Some proponents of this theory accuse government agencies of using bots to manipulate public perception. The date given for this death is generally around 2016 or 2017. The dead internet theory has gained traction because many of the observed phenomena are quantifiable, such as increased bot traffic, but the literature on the subject does not support the full theory. So that is just a quick overview of dead internet theory. And this comes from Hypnotic, who says, I think these websites are making fake accounts to give the perception of staffing, but it's really just a fake account putting out AI articles and being overseen by 1 to 2 people. That would explain no social media presence and the fact that they joined in February of this year, which was around the time there were so many journalist layoffs. You never know, which I 1,000,000% agree with. It's a theory that unfortunately, once again, makes too much sense. These sites want to look alive without paying for the people to work on it. So they create digital corpses, empty bios, AI generated content, writers with no history, no human touch, and no credibility outside the echo chamber of the SEO optimized sludge. Could she be real? Of course. But then I'd argue that's even worse. Using ChatGPT to write entire articles professionally? I mean, come on, at least edit it a bit and make it look like you tried. So this is what I already went over with ChatGPT, giving its overview and saying even, like I said, it said before, it said 90 to 95% when I entered that same thing. But either way, 85 to 95% certainty that it was written by AI. Combine all this with a ghostwriter that, as of now, no one can verify exists, and we're all staring down the barrel of dead internet theory in action. Here is another quote tweet from Majbean, who quote tweets Jack Doherty, saying that he got into the works accident and broke his collarbone. Should I post the video? And she quote tweets it and writes Jack Doherty. I'm like, yes, bot. Well, what could I help you with? The whole dead internet theory suggests that most of the web is just filled with fake people posting fake content automatically read by bots, commented by algorithms, and boosted by corporate AIs. Sounds far-fetched? Maybe. But have a look at her own response in her own article, which she does this in every one of her articles that is automated and automatically written. She has a comment that basically summarizes what her content was to basically act like she's engaging with her own content to start a conversation. She says, I am personally excited about the nightmare difficulty because it will add a whole new level of challenge. Like, this is something like a fifth grader would write. Why are you excited about your field trip? I'm excited about my field trip because I get to go outside. I mean, I guess that's a way to be excited. When an article is likely written by AI, published under a name that may not be real, and propped up by an account created just months ago with zero credibility, it's hard to argue against it. And again, even if she ends up being real, I would argue that's even scarier. An actual human is this stupid and yet lands themselves a gig at an official games journalism. Okay, you know what? Maybe it's actually not that crazy after all. And then we get this one, like I said, where's yet another one just for shits and giggles. I checked another article for her, and yep, you guessed it, same result with 90 to 95%. Sorry, this one 95 to 98% certainty that it was AI generated. Looks like, ladies and gents, that dead robots reading this on the internet, that we have established a pattern. The soul of the internet, the human voice itself, and any individuality as we know it is dying. And in its place, we're getting a cold synthetic simulation of life online. GameRant has some serious explaining to do here. So that was an article written, guess what? Entirely by me, guys. Holy crap. Holy crap. That's amazing. This is how you actually journal, guys. This is how you do it. You actually bring information, you talk about what's happening, and you give your own perspective on it. You give your own spin and your narrative to it, and you talk about it. And especially when you're talking about someone else who works at a quote unquote professional game journal site, it is beyond ludicrous. This should be the top story across the board. All games journalists should hold each other accountable. This should be talked about on Eurogamer. It should be talked about on IGN. They should be calling each other out, being like, whoa, this YouTuber found something here that's curious. It looks like there's one among us that isn't real. Why is this happening? Let's investigate it. But I know you guys are like rolling your eyes when I say that, because we all know that will never happen, because they protect their own, because they know it's all they have. And when it all comes crumbling down, they will have nothing. And at the end of the day, they'll have no one to blame but themselves. That being said, I'll leave it there. Before I continue with it, I see Kyle Barra in the chat says, Smash, I just ran that image through AI or not, and it came up with 90% the first time and 80% the second. So I think the picture was created by AI. That would explain why neither one of those pictures exists on the internet. So very curious, Kyle. Very curious. I would love to see what GameRant has to say about that situation. But thank you for that, man.